Hey friends, welcome to the channel. I'm Ken Smith. Now I'm in front of Lumber and Craft, which is here in Johnson City, Tennessee. We are actually going to go inside and start picking up the beautiful lumber that we have set aside to start building our 1934 Model A Huckster. So let's head inside now and check it out. So we are going to go ahead and head inside right now, and yeah, I've got my friend Craig over here. He has been sorting through wood for me, and we've already got some pieces that are already picked out. As you can see, we brought our plans in and our material list over here. Now, this is a specialty lumber and craft store right here. And so as you can see, plenty of great woods to select from. And we have got our white oak that we've already set aside to start. And then we're also using some hard maple that we've kind of set aside as well, and that's right over here. This is going to be our foundation for the sub rails and frame. So we're going to go ahead and get this loaded up into the great white beast and bring it on over to the shop. Oh, we go. Put that chair and get on the way. Or not. Well, the shop master, or the woodworker, has gone in to get a sun hat. He's asked me to wax the inboard or feed table and the outboard table. So I'll wax it on, I'll wax it off, I'll wax it on, I'll wax it off. I feel like Karate Kid here. That's all right, man. You know, someone's got to do it. Might as well be me, and I'm good with that. Good old Johnson paste wax, carnauba base paste wax. This was my first experience planing lumber, and I got to tell you, I was shocked at the amount of work that this really takes. Sawdust, anyone? This all came out of just planing those two boards. So shaving some serious lumber off. We've got two more to go to
We got
Get
a
that
lot
done.
more to go.
Yeah, we got a lot more to go.
A lot.
This is just like the start of what we got going on here. That's all right. It's all good. I've got the master woodworker. Woo! That's a lot of dust, brother. Now what you're watching here is us actually planing 8/4 hard maple. This is going to end up being the side rails for the subframe. Now if you notice, we're actually taking very light cuts on each pass, and that's because this wood is really, really hard, and so we don't want to damage the blades or damage the wood in each of these passings. So we're only taking about a 32nd of an inch off on each one of these passes. So it's very time consuming. It's very labor intensive. These boards are extremely heavy and they're extremely long. The average length of these boards is hovering at about 10 feet.
Okay, so we're going to bring out the venerable old tool. And that does not mean me. This is the Shopsmith. Great old tool. It's what got me started. Been with me since 1977. Somewhere, it's probably about where that goes. See what that bolt looks like going through there. That is definitely nice to have it. Okay, there's no wiggle room. Let's go with perfection.
Let's go.
All right.
I like it.
All right. Yeah, but okay, so we're gonna do all these whole. Then we're gonna need to come back, do with the wider bit and make room for the washer and the head.
Okay.
All right.
Now, Craig is absolutely meticulous in everything that he does, and even drilling these holes that no one is ever going to see except for him and me and whoever else is watching this video. He really is all about perfection, and I'm just blown away at his willingness to be so precise and so perfect. Now, we're actually building the substructure or subframe, if you will, out of hard maple. And some of you might be wondering why I made the decision to do hard maple for the subframe and not oak throughout the whole thing. One, hard maple is just a little bit lighter than oak per board foot. Not a whole lot, but a little bit. But more than anything, 8-4 slabs of rough cut white oak versus 8-4 rough cut slabs of hard maple, the price differentiation is actually quite substantial. And so since this is going to be painted, it's the underneath, no one's ever going to see this. We're actually going to use the same frame sealer that we did on the Model A frame in the video that you saw of that, and that's what we're actually going to seal this wood with. So it's going to have a really nice exterior finish that should protect this wood for many, many years to come. So that was the other reason why we chose to do that. All right, so we've gone ahead and pre-drilled our holes here. We're actually going to use this guide to pre-drill holes in the base right here, and this should allow us to drive our 4.5-inch lag screws nice and snug. Obviously this bit is smaller and should be a really nice tight fit with that maple. Now, in the Wagon Works videos that both Craig and I watched, there seemed to be a very simplistic way of him building the Huckster, and we obviously, and I shouldn't even say we, Craig has really stepped up and taken this to a whole different level of building, helping me build a vehicle. And quite honestly, I almost feel like I'm just tagging along for the ride. He has been instrumental in his help with supplying his knowledge and his skill set to this build. I could not have done this and this type of quality work without his help. So, Craig, if you're watching the video, man, I love you, buddy, and thank you so much for your help. Now, this is the finished product of those 5/4 slabs of oak that we were planning, but look at the dark walnut that Craig came up with the idea for putting a spline and adding this 3/8 inch strip of dark walnut. It just absolutely makes this bed spectacular. Now, one of the things that I want to mention is that Craig has never, ever actually built a car, or anything with an antique car. So this is a first for him, and yet I'm still blown away at the quality of his craftsmanship. All right, well, we've got our deck fully assembled. Now, the underneath is already finished, and I've sanded the deck. I've wiped it down with a tack cloth. I highly recommend that you do that. Again, it just picks up some of that loose dust that you might have. And I'm getting ready to stain it. Now, I shopped around for a particular stain that I really wanted. I wanted a lot of the grain to still show through. This is beautiful oak. Most of the vehicle as a sidebar is probably built from the same tree where we picked up our oak. Now, what I am using is Sherwin-Williams Super Deck. Now, they didn't sponsor the video at all. I don't want you to think that they did. However, my brother happens to work for them, and he encouraged me to purchase their stain. So I went down and I kind of checked them out. This is actually a transparent exterior wood stain. It also is a sealer. It's oil-based, which is something I was looking for. I do plan, once the entire build is done, before we attach it to the Model A chassis, we're going to go ahead and spray a non-yellowing, clear coat, water-based polyurethane sealer on top of that. So we'll definitely have some time for this to dry out and seal, and then we'll go ahead and seal it permanently. So that's what we plan on doing, but we're going to go ahead and start applying the stain. Now it's summertime here in East Tennessee, and there's absolutely no way that I can record anything in the day with the door open and you not hear the sound of lawnmowers. That being said, we've got our deck assembled. It's stained. It is absolutely gorgeous. Now, a few things that I want to point out as we kind of do a walk around this. Our finish is still obviously a little wet. It's going to dry very transparent and very flat. This is actually our third coat on. But a few things I definitely want to point out. Okay, so let's look at where the B pillar is going to mount. Now, this isn't nailed down yet. It will be. But I left this loose so that you could see a few things right here. First, this is an inset bed. So our rear fender is actually going to be coming up and around right there. So one of the things that I didn't realize when we went ahead and started doing the build is this area right here was going to be exposed. So as you can see, now we've got a piece of oak in there, and it's exceptionally thin. This is actually glued on, and the reason why we glued on such a thin piece is this is our B pillar. We've already got our B pillar cut, and I didn't want this big huge gap sticking out here, and so that's what I did. I'm pretty sure that this is going to stay on just fine. It's not any problem. Like I said, the fender actually comes up right around here, and so our B pillar is going to sit right here. Now, the other thing I wanted to point out is that if you look at the side right here, you'll notice that this is sticking out just about 1/4 of an inch. The reason being is because when we go to attach our B pillar, we're going to be screwing it into the post right here, but we're going to also cut an inset inside for the B pillar, and so it's actually going to slide inside that groove that we cut, and that's going to give some additional strength and stability. And so that's the reason why I haven't cut this off yet. Now, last is this end. And wanted to point out, if you look very careful, you'll kind of see a small little mark right there. This is actually going to be a 3/4 inch faceplate made out of oak that we're going to attach to this. So you'll not see this. This will be nice and finished right there. Now, if we come along the back side, this is all painted right now, and that is because we're going to put another piece of oak, and this is going to cover up this whole section right here, and that's where the tailgate is going to mount. But just take a look at how beautiful this looks. This is that piece of dark walnut that Craig splined together to make this beautiful, beautiful floor for the bed. Now, the original plans just said use oak tongue and groove flooring, and Craig said, I think we could do a lot better than that, and he was not kidding. Now, this notch right here is the inset for the doors. Now, we actually have got this a lot longer than it needs to be, because we're going to do a final cut and measure up here with our cowl. And then we also, the reason why this isn't stained on either side is we are going to glue a 1 inch by 3/8 inch or 3/4 inch piece of wood right here, glue and nail that, and that is going to be for the floorboards that we'll screw in during the final assembly. So that is what our bed currently looks like, man. Really super excited. The cost, to kind of give you an idea, we're not buying our lumber at the big box store. You're just not going to get that kind of quality lumber. So when we decided to do the 8-quarter maple for the whole subframe, 8-quarter maple was running us about $3.90 a board foot. I won't get into the math and how that all figures out and whatnot, but I'll give you the difference. The white maple, while it's a hard wood, it's a little bit lighter than white oak. So that was a choice that we made. I mentioned that earlier in the video, but it's $3.90 a board foot. That same 8-quarter lumber, if it was white oak, was better than $16 a board foot when we were out pricing this build. Now, the rest of the lumber that we're using is 5-quarter. So it's obviously thinner, and when it mills down and planes down, it's about 3/4 of an inch thick. So that's what we're building the rest of this out. And to give you an example of the wood that we haven't even used yet, right over here, I picked this up, and that's just better than $1,000 worth of lumber that we still have to mill, plane, and get it all ready, and so on and so forth. So buy me a coffee. You'll see that link down in my description. I really appreciate it, man. It encourages me to keep making these videos for all of you. Hopefully I've encouraged you to maybe step out of your comfort zone and do some pretty cool stuff with a Model A. I don't know, but I'm having a blast doing this. So that being said, buy me a cup of coffee. I put a link down in the description. Have a wonderful day, but more than anything else, y'all be blessed.